So I grew up going to church, so knew of God from being little, but I didn't really believe or understand what it meant to follow him. At age 12, I went to a Christian camp called New Day with thousands of other kids, and I saw for myself what God could do. I decided there that this stuff was true and I wanted to believe. But my teens were tough. I didn't enjoy school, and I'd moved around quite a lot, so I didn't really feel stable or have many friends. My mum became poorly, and that had a real effect on family life. We had to move house, and I started struggling at school again and eventually left at the age of 14. When I finally went back to a different school, it was better, but I didn't want to be there, so I really struggled to fit in. Throughout this time into college, God was so far away because I just wanted to be normal. I enjoyed college, but my friends were such a bad influence on me, and this didn't help with home life or my walk with God. The only bit of Jesus I had in my life was church on a Sunday and a Monday night youth group. But when I was there, I didn't pay attention or take it seriously. I think this was because it was separate from home life, so I didn't have any of the responsibility that I held there. So one youth group, we had a girl visit who was on a gap year with Youth for Christ. It sounded fun, and it came in a time at college when everyone was applying for unis, and I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I thought, why not? At 18, I applied and was accepted onto this year as part of a touring band. We went all over the UK, into schools and churches. We taught music, we led worship, played gigs and festivals and stuff. But this year was really, really tough. I found out very quickly that I could not do it alone, and I had to really rely on God to get me through. Straight after this year, I did a creative internship where we ran kids clubs and holiday camps teaching about God. I had no break in between these times. And I was also with this guy I'd met on my previous gap year, so I was juggling a long distance relationship as well. Lots happened during this year, and it was a real battle, physically, mentally and spiritually. I basically became exhausted, and I had to leave the year a little early. I moved up to Manchester to live near this guy. I joined his church, I got myself a couple of jobs, and we started to plan a life together. From the outside, we looked good. We were active members of the church, we were running youth group, we were leading worship, and we were known for doing stuff like in the church. But behind the scenes, we were not living very godly lives. For me as well, it felt like I was living in a shadow, and I had to prove my worth, so I worked so hard on building up my own future and security. But I did this in my strength and not on God's strength. So I ran myself into the ground yet again, and I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and at this time I'd also developed anorexia. It was then that my appendix decided to burst, and I ended up in hospital for a week. This almost killed me, and my mental state was really not very good. The day I got home, I received a phone call from said guy, and it was all over. Life basically stopped there, and it felt like my world had crumbled. I spent a few months back with my parents, which was tough for many reasons, but it gave me a chance to recover a little and reconsider the direction of my life. I decided to go to uni, so I moved back up to Manchester because that's where my life was. But in 2019, my student flats burnt down, so I moved in with one of the elders of my church. A few months later, lockdown hit. Woo! The guy I was living with moved to live with his family, so I ended up living there by myself. It was super lonely, and I was still so ill. I wrote a song which basically was a cry to help for God about everything that had happened, and from this moment things started to change. I did a course called Keys to Freedom, which is a discipleship course using the Bible to aid recovery from mental health illness. It was amazing. It got me back on track with Jesus, and I started to become so much healthier and closer to him. I was still in Manchester at this point, and I knew I needed a change of scene. To leave my old life behind completely, and the only way I knew how to do this was to physically move away. So halfway through the second lockdown, I transferred unis and I moved to Chester. This was the best decision I've ever made. I moved into a house share with some lovely people, but for the first 6 months I didn't go to church, and I kept quiet about the whole Christian thing. But eventually, when restrictions started to end, I joined my uni CU and went to Forum, which is a week of training on how to run Christian unions and how to reach students and tell them about Jesus. The Sunday after I got back, I found a church called Freedom and was welcomed in straight away as part of the family. It's been a little up and down over the past year, but each day I'm getting stronger. Ooh, I can't see. and I've learned to lean on God and trust him so much more. I still have bad days sometimes, but whenever I feel low, I turn to Psalm chapter 139, verses 1 to 5, which says, "Lord, you have examined my heart and you know everything about me. You know when I sit down or stand up. You know my thoughts even when I'm far away. You see me when I travel and when I rest at home. You know everything I do and you know what I'm going to say, even before I say it, Lord. You go before me and follow me, and you place your hand of blessing on my head." So God doesn't promise life to be easy, but he does promise to be with you through it all. No matter where I am, my home is in Jesus, and he's never going to leave. I know I can rely on him and trust in him completely with my life. Even when my physical or mental state changes, I know he is unchanging. Even when my friends or family leave, I know he never will. And when I don't know my next step or what the future holds, I can trust in God completely to guide me through and to know he goes before me. So I'm getting baptized to declare all this and to show that I believe and trust in him. I am his, and I will hold on to Jesus no matter what comes next.
Amen.